Weird Science
is the revolution.
Ultimate Black Panther, and that is written by Brian Hill, art by Stefano Caselli, colors by David Coriel, letters by VC's Corey Petit. Last issue, we ended up seeing that T'Challa finds out, okay, where can we go and fight Ra and Khonshu? And the deal was that where there was no signal must be where they are because they're hiding the signal and all this. And T'Challa goes, and there is a mole. He gets shot down, and it seemed like he was in some trouble. In the meantime, we're trying to figure out who the mole is. That's the big story of all this. Who I still think it's Okoye.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of people think it's Shuri. And then other people think it's, those witches and this and that. I hope that it's somebody that we've known and there's not that many characters we've seen so far. That was where I said was maybe the misplay of having the idea of a mole before we see more than 5 different characters. But I still think it's Okoye. She is not very nice, but I think it's a misplay here. What do you think? I mean, it's so odd to start this way, right?
It's so seems to me like it's really pointing towards her. So anybody else would be a surprise, but.
And what you have at the beginning is Shuri. She's training, and you end up where Okoye shows up, and they start talking trash to each other. Now you have a thing. Me and you talked about it. We don't know, the royalty lineage or whatever, but Okoye being the queen. But Shuri being the sister of the king, they're kind of going back and forth of how they should, respect each other. Both of them seem to think they want more respect, especially Okoye.
It's all about the respect.
This shows Okoye not being very good because if you're there, nobody else is there. Like if you're there by yourself and it's just Shuri Okoye and Shuri says, listen, Okoye, my brother will be fine. I don't think that she has to say that's queen. Okay, it's too much to me, especially from what we know, but this is the Ultimate Universe. So it kind of gives you that really mean, like it felt really mean. And then Shuri then's turning her back.
Oh, she didn't like that.
Yeah, I think that you could play this, though, as I think Shuri knows what she's doing. But you could play it as that she just looks at her as, a sister-in-law, not just the queen. And they're concerned about T'Challa, who both of them should be concerned about and love, but it is Shuri just basically saying he'll be fine. He does things that he does, and it'll take as long as it takes. So at the end, the big weird play is also Shuri turns her back again at the end, but Okoye doesn't say. But this whole idea of you have to respect me, well, you need to trust me. There's that back and forth, but it's weird because Okoye doesn't seem like she's concerned with T'Challa. She seems more about having respect from Shuri. And Shuri's a little too loose on it as well. So I don't know.
I mean, the king is missing and they're just squabbling over just nonsense.
I mean, they end up getting to the point where they say, hey, let's fight. But it doesn't really mean that much. They're just going to fight and Shuri wins. But what does that mean?
With the Jean-Claude Van Damme kick.
Yeah, she does. Pretty good, too. It's pretty good. I like it. And yeah, even that, like Okoye is like upset, but Shuri, picks her up. And you end up, Okoye says, is he on the right path? And yeah, Shuri says he believes he is, but does she know more than we know?
She has to.
With the thing, it seems like maybe she was pointing him toward.
She knows more, and she probably suspects Okoye, so she's not saying anything to her.
And that's the thing. If you want to look at it at different lenses, it seems like Okoye is trying to get information.
Yeah,
it
that's
seems
what
like
it is.
She is there
like,
to
hey,
get
we're
information.
Friends. We've known each other for a long time. We're sisters, basically. Tell me stuff.
Maybe you could have played. Maybe this is a weird setup because we see Okoye here saying, you call me queen. Don't turn your back. That's not a way to get somebody to give you that inside info. Now we've seen this. If we see the scene again where she goes and like, oh man, sister, what up? High five. Like, then she's working at the wrong angle if it is her trying to get, because it really does feel like she's trying to get information so that she can send it off to Ra and Khonshu, and that doesn't seem that, out of the realm of possibility. It really seems like it. I don't trust her.
Yeah.
But then it seems too on the nose. So actually, the way that it plays out, it's done pretty well. Because you get that back and forth. It's too on the nose, but it could be Shuri, but it might be the Dora Milaje. So you're wondering. But then we go off and we do see, because when you had that crash and T'Challa crashed, he was saved by Killmonger and Storm. So they're out hunting. This is where, again, though, we're at this point, we're kind of far into we're almost halfway through the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And all we had was sparring between it was done well. I liked the dialogue a lot, but you didn't get much. So then we go and see T'Challa with Killmonger, and it's just, hey, we're hunting. We end up using all of the animal. You're there and you're Wakanda, and I want to help the, regular people. It's the things that you would guess Killmonger, but Killmonger is actually better than I thought he was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But even like there's a little bit that it's cool enough when they end up having this, gazelle that they hunt and they're leaving and you end up, he's like, I know how to hunt. And then Killmonger says, well, then you skin it, get our meat, but make it look rough. So
he has to make bad cuts and
it
stuff.
looks like that animal, killed it. That was kind of cool, but is that the wow thing? It's not a wow moment.
No, but it's
nice. I mean, it works. It actually, like all of this, and I'm telling you, nothing really happens in this issue. I still like it. I did like it. I like the art a lot too. But on the cover, if people are expecting this because it's really pushing like, hey, everybody, Killmonger and Storm, which we saw already. If you're expecting wow moments where Storm's going to come out and start lightning at...
Yeah, Killmonger has his mask and his axe.
Yeah, you're not going to get that.
No.
It's very slow, low-key. It's a slow burn, but I do like it, and it does give you character work and kind of gets you set in things. So, and I have a theory that we'll talk about by the end that I think this and the Peach Momoko X-Men book are kind of caught in. But you end up where, they're talking, and he says, I'm going to show you this stuff. I'm going to show you what Wrong Country might be after, but they don't even know they're after yet, the secret deal, and he ends up putting a hood over them, and then he gets there, and he says, don't you trust me? It's like, well, we're going to get to this place. We'll figure this out. They do actually say then that they trust him, but they're at this temple of the Panther.
And it's somewhere else. It's not Wakanda. It's somewhere else in Africa.
It's somewhere else in Africa. And it's one of those where T'Challa then activates his suit. Killmonger says, oh, don't you trust
You don't need
this? And he says, no, you have your trust issues. I have mine. They go in only to not be able to use the suit anyway in a little bit. It starts getting wonky and starts going out. And this, I think it's the idea he says to T'Challa, you think you know Africa. You don't. And you think you know Black Panther, and you really don't know everything. This is stuff that you don't know. And especially, with the suit going out, and he goes into this, they end up seeing vibranium at one point, and they're like, I think that, is this what they're after? And we did see that is one of the things that Wrong Country are after.
It.
Yeah, but he says there's more to it, and Moon Knight, that's what Moon Knight seeks, the vibranium. And, they end up, okay, well, what are we doing? And that's where, and is it the vibranium that fritzes out the suit?
It seems
weird, right? Like that much there. So we're getting that. And then you have some cool things. Even before that, there's a big giant, what is it? Shaft. And they jump into this. This just happened.
The big giant shaft.
Yeah, there's a big giant shaft. See, we're getting sexy again. This just happened in the Green Lantern book last week at DC, where they jump into the big giant shaft. And then it has air that kicks, but it's Storm who's doing it. And this is
it's pretty cool. They jump down and she kind of guides them down.
Yep. And they get down. But again, if you're thinking this is going to be this crazy, oh my God, Storm, she's just there. And I do like what she says here. And she talks about the idea of, almost going away from the idea of mutants because they don't really know what that means. Like, it's not an ability, it's a responsibility. Things like it seemed kind of cool. But, this whole thing is just, we're going to show you something, prepare your mind, and I'm waiting for something crazy. Like, I'm waiting for something that's going to be, oh my God. And what they do is kind of lead them down a hallway, and then they go into a room that has a big dais with all these skeletons around it and what looks like a moon in the chamber.
It kind of looks exactly like the moon.
Yeah, I don't know what it means. And again, we have Moon Knight. We have the whole thing with Wrong Country. So what is this? What is the play of? And they keep saying the idea that they don't know. The Moon Knight's Wrong Country, they don't know what's here. But if they do find out, they're going to really go crazy with it. And you even have like Mother Best. No, son of Wakanda, I don't know what is here, but I know your God is not. So they don't even know what it is.
No, and if you touch it, I guess you die maybe? Is that what's
it looks
going
like
on
everybody around it's dead.
And dead for a while, too.
It's weird. It's a very slow-paced deal. But what would you give this?
Well, and just before I give my score, I think the Storm stuff is cool. Like, you're right. T'Challa thinks it's a skill, like she learned it, but it's really just so much more than that. It's like something that's a part of her being, that you can't even really explain
how it is.
Yeah.
And everybody has their theories of why the X-Men are like they are. Maybe Charles isn't there. You didn't have anybody, like you would have Storm thinking she's a goddess. You would have her thinking that these...
You would absolutely think that.
You would just think it's that magic. People would have all sorts of ideas.
Yeah, I'd give this. I'd give it an 8.5. I think it's a little slow, but it's still good.
Weird science is the revolution.